Moving on now to corruption news. Australia has recorded its worst ever score on a measure of corruption after a long-term decline, bringing us equal to Hungary. Hungary, who you might not know, have been doing some questionable activities like attempting to increase state control of judiciary, media, non-governmental organisations and academia. The prosecution of high-level corruption remains very limited. While the absence of legislation and transparency in the distribution of state advertising has opened the door for the government to exert indirect political influence over the media, and whose Prime Minister and man asking, "Where did you hear that?" so he can send a hit squad of goons to stop the spread of false information. Viktor Orban, who not only sets up false opposition parties in order to split the non-Orban votes, but also was described by Steve Bannon as the most significant guy on the scene right now in 2015, likely because Orban styles himself as the continent's great illiberal and grandstands ceaselessly over the perceived evils of immigration, multiculturalism, feminism, and European integration, and at various times has been accused of peddling anti-Semitism, Islamophobia, homophobia, and anti-Roma sentiment. Whew, there's a lot going on over in Hungary. Let's keep going. Hungary also recently banned the use of materials seen as promoting homosexuality and gender change in schools. We're still going, are we? The Hungarian contestants at the International Miss Universe pageant, Victoria Jasmine, wore a Zara dress during the competition instead of the traditional national dress that most of the competitors wear. But hey, nobody pays attention to this because they're unsure if Hungary is considered part of Transylvania, and they don't want to be racist, but then they fail to realise that A, Transylvania isn't even a country, but B, Transylvania is actually part of Romania, not part of Hungary, and so in considering not wanting to be racist, they come full 360 and become racist again. It's very embarrassing. But this is who we're in alignment now. I know that our country could probably list equally as long atrocities, but come on, guys. How did we fall so far down the Transparency International Annual Corruption Perceptions Index? How? Australia recorded a disgraceful score of 73 out of 100, which means that we've dropped a disorienting, nosebleed-inducing 4 points from our standing in recent years, and the worst result since Transparency International adopted its current approach to measuring corruption in 2012. So what happened? Well, the recent drop is due largely to Australia's failure to establish a federal anti-corruption commission, which is completely unfair. The coalition has only had 9 years in power and have spent most of that time creating fires that they then need to immediately put out. You can't expect anyone to take a reasonable step forward when they have thrown a series of rakes in their own path. They might get hurt. No. Best stay exactly where you are and just throw more rakes on the proverbial path of progress. And if you can invest in the development of technology for rake throwing machines, which will automate the tedious task of throwing rakes, all the better. Just let your opposition walk down the path of progress. The failure to reform Australia's foreign bribery laws and take greater action to regulate lobbying, donations, and the revolving door between big business and politics were also cited by Transparency International, as were lax financial regulations which allowed Australia to be used as a launching pad for corruption in the region. Scandalous. Australia's performance in the CPI has continually declined in the past decade, which I am sure has nothing to do with the people who have been in charge in that time. They just happen to be in charge at the time of a global inflation of corruption. You can't help the times that you were born into. It's not Sauron's fault that he oversaw the rise of Sauron-based corruption in Middle-earth in the Third Age. It just simply cannot be tied together. Transparency International Australia's Chief Executive, Serena Lillywhite, said a lack of a Federal Integrity Commission in Australia was a gaping hole in our system, with its proposed Anti-Corruption Commission lacking transparency and failing to stop corruption. We will see increased levels of things looking like they aren't corrupt. Levels of things look just fine. No need to look over there. Nothing to worry about, and can be expected to be raised all over the country as we head towards the election and the government desperately tries to show that they haven't spent the last 9 years preparing the country to turn into a shit, as they expected to lose the last election and wanted to go on the full "look what the Labor Party has done to the country" offensive. Certainly, they didn't expect the Labor Party to run their counter-campaign of fucking up a sure thing, and got stuck running this shithole of a country that they had gone ahead and created, and had nobody else to blame for it. Really, who could possibly be held fault for something like that?